Hey guys, I hope everyone's day is going well, and today
we are so back.
We are back, baby. We are back.
I know it's been a minute since I uploaded a video. I promise you guys, I've been just really busy with work and a couple other things. So don't worry, I'm still doing YoYo reviews and I think I'll do some tutorials in the future. Just been caught up in a bunch of different things. But you guys know I'll always make time for a good YoYo review. And honestly, this is a good opportunity for a quick plug for my Instagram. I feel like I post way more on Instagram than any other social media platform. So if you're not already following me, go ahead and give this account a follow. I post a lot of Instagram stories there of just tricks that I'm working on or new things that I've come up with. So if you're looking for more YoYoJoe, head on over to Instagram. That's where I've been posting the most recently. But on to the topic of today's video, we've got a killer new yo-yo from Enzo Yo-Yos. It is none other than the Gear 5. This is a very wide and large and extreme yo-yo and I absolutely love it. So I'm super excited to walk you guys through what my thoughts are on this. Without any further ado, let's jump right in. All right, so for starters, of course, I gotta give a huge shout out to Enzo Yo-Yos for making this entire video possible. They messaged me and they've actually got 3 yo-yos that I'm going to be reviewing in the future, the Gear 5 being one of them. And so be on the lookout for some new videos coming up in future months when they release the other yo-yos. I'm gonna keep those ones a secret for now. But yes, they sent me the Gear 5, so I'm super appreciative of them for making this entire video possible. They've been a major supporter of the channel over the years and I've reviewed tons of their yo-yos and honestly loved all of them. So it brings me a lot of joy to see the new things that they create and analyze their yo-yos. So as usual with all of my reviews, I'm gonna throw the specs of this yo-yo on the screen in the next clip and then I'll walk you guys through exactly what I think of this yo-yo and its design. Alright, so first and foremost, this is definitely a large and wide yo-yo. I mean, you can just tell that by looking at the specs there, but this is a chunky yo-yo. Overall, I think the appearance of this thing is super dynamic. It's got a ton of cuts in it, and it's just a very noticeable yo-yo, and you can just see that this yo-yo has a ton going on. So let's first start with the shape. This is a very interesting shape because if you kind of start from the outside, you got those bimetal rims right there, you can see, super beefy, super serious. And it kind of starts out with more of an organic shape, but then really cuts down there in the middle to being more of like an H shape. So it's kind of hard to label this yo-yo as just one shape because the outside, again, like it feels like a very O or organic shape, and then it has that really competition cut down there to the middle of the yo-yo. As you can see, it has a ton of cuts all around it, which is a really cool engineering design. They've also done a polished finish right around the response pad, so I believe that's done to reduce friction between the string and the yo-yo. That's a really nice detail that a lot of companies are doing recently and just helps the yo-yo spin for longer and be less resistant to the string pushing up against the side. So overall, this shape is super comfortable to hold in the hand and it is definitely wide. This is a very, very wide yo-yo. Moving on over to the cup, there's a few details that I want to point out. So first and foremost, let's take a closer look at that bimetal rim. So as you saw before, it wraps around to the profile of the yo-yo, but it kind of has another inner ring right there. So you notice the separation right there where on the very outside you've got that bimetal rim, then a little bit of the just normal aluminum design, and then another bimetal rim on the inside. That's a feature that I want to really kind of emphasize here because I have personally never really seen this kind of dual ring design. And it's a really, really cool option for a yo-yo, and I'm sure it really helps out with spin time, but also keeping the yo-yo balanced. We've got a ton of cuts down there that lead down to a kind of bulging dimple center. A lot of times companies will have that little nub in the middle there to allow the yo-yo to have a longer axle. So that could be the reasoning for this. But overall, I'm definitely a fan of this cup design. This yo-yo, in my opinion, just looks really dynamic and clean. It's definitely an eye-catching yo-yo since it has all those different cuts. However, it doesn't go too far off the beaten path such that this yo-yo would perform poorly. I think this is definitely an example of how yo-yos are still evolving in this day and age, you know, to ensure that the yo-yos don't get stale and just repetitive, but also maintaining the rules and kind of regulations that make a good competition and high-performing yo-yo. So we've talked a little bit about how the yo-yo is actually designed and its appearance and specs. Now, I'd love to chat with you guys about how does this yo-yo play. For starters, this is definitely a very, very solid and long spinning yo-yo. When you throw this thing down, you can see it just has immense power when it rips off the string. This is the kind of yo-yo where, you know, you throw it down, you finish a trick, and when you bind it back to your hand, it comes back with so much more spin than you thought. When I was playing with this yo-yo, I immediately noticed that I was getting through all of my tricks and the yo-yo still had so much spin left, such that I was able to complete even more tricks at the end of a combo. This is definitely a very extreme and unstable yo-yo. I wouldn't say it's the lightest yo-yo in the world, so I found in general, like, it was definitely maneuverable, but you had to push this thing a little harder than most yo-yos just because it's a little bit wider and just kind of a slower moving yo-yo in that regard. Now, I do want to preference and say that a slower moving yo-yo isn't necessarily a bad thing. Some people have more, banger oriented tricks where they're not performing really, really fast tricks, but the tricks that they're performing are very extreme. That suits their style very, very well. And so with the Gear 5 right here, this isn't exactly a super nimble and really, really speedy yo-yo. It's more geared towards the players that have such extreme and banger tricks that they need a yo-yo that has a really long spin time and a ton of stability. So like I said, fast tricks were good with this yo-yo. You can definitely get it up to fast speeds and it can maintain its momentum. However, it takes a little bit more effort than I would say with other yo-yos to get this thing up to those fast speeds. Whips and hop tricks were perfect with this yo. It has such a wide and accommodating gap that I really didn't have any issues there. So like I said, if you've got big banger tricks where you're hitting crazy hooks or, crazy hops over your arm, behind the back, horizontal, things like that, this is a very, very good yo-yo because it has such a wide base. It can accommodate all of those different tricks and help improve your consistency too. Tech tricks were good with this yo-yo. I did find it a little bit big, such that in some of my more complex string configurations and things like that, it'd be a little bit hard to kind of maneuver very, very tight configurations. But for the most part, I wasn't really having too much of an issue. I would just say that since this is a wider yo-yo, just know that it's not gonna be able to, fit in probably the most dense configurations that you've got. However, for my types of tricks, I had no problems there. Next, I thought that the response system with this yo-yo was fantastic. So right out of the box, paired with some OT fat string, I didn't really have any issues with the response pads. I felt that binds felt very, very tight and sometimes a little too tight just because this yo-yo has so much spin. But overall, they were at least consistent, which I really liked. Regens were also good. I was able to get this thing going through a series of different difficult regens, and so I was happy to see the performance there was great. Horizontal with this yo is definitely fantastic. One thing I would say is that this yo spins forever, we've already acknowledged that, and it also has a ton of stability. However, for horizontal tricks, if you really want to go fast and crank this thing up to some fast speeds, it's going to be a little sluggish. You're going to find it's a little resistant to change, and especially with those horizontal tricks that are changing direction all over the place, it could be a little bit difficult. However, since this yo has so much spin time and stability, you're gonna be able to hit your horizontal tricks without any concern that the yo will die out on you. And that's for sure. This yo will handle your hardest horizontal tricks and still have a lot of spin left over, which is an absolute incredible thing about this yo-yo. Grinds with this yo are exceptional, so it's got such a long spin time and incredible stability that you're able to get that thing to grind on your finger for a really long time. It's also got a little ridge there that you can kind of lock in for a thumb grind. And finger spins are good. There's no area to kind of, lock into a finger spin. You're just gonna kind of rotate around that center since it has the nub in the middle. But like I said, this yo-yo spins for so long and has so much stability that it was never an issue to do a finger spin with. So in conclusion, I see the Gear 5 as a very banger-oriented competition yo-yo. It spins for an exceptionally long time, it is super, super stable, and it also has a ton of power with it. So if you got those tricks that require a very extreme yo-yo and a very long spinning yo-yo to hit all of them in a row, this is a great option for you. However, if you're looking for an extremely nimble and fast yo-yo, I don't think this would be a good option just because since it's a little bit bigger and a little bit on the heavier side in terms of play, this isn't going to be the most nimble and dancing around floaty yo-yo that you're looking for. However, I know Levi White uses this a ton and his tricks have a ton of bangers in them, so I can definitely see why this yo-yo would suit his style perfectly. All right, that's about it for my review of the Gear 5 from Enzo Yo-Yos. Like I said before, I got 2 more yo-yos that I'm gonna review for them that'll be coming out in the next few months when they release those yo-yos, so be tuned for that. I'm sorry I haven't been with you guys on YouTube that much recently. Like I said, I've been very busy with my full-time job. But again, quick plug for the Instagram. I've been posting there at least once a week, just an Instagram story of some fun tricks. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. That's all for my review. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.